And on this Thanksgiving weekend, what a wonderful topic this is, to be in this place of remembering what we're grateful for. So before Reverend Toni goes into her message, this is a song that she especially picked. It's Grateful, and it's by Brian Stokes Mitchell.
I got a roof over my head. I got a warm place to sleep. Some nights I lie awake counting gifts instead of counting sheep. I got a heart that can hold love. I got a mind that can think. There may be times when I lose the light and let my spirit sink, but I can't stay depressed. And I remember how I'm blessed. Grateful, grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. In a city of strangers, I've got a family of friends. No matter what rocks and brambles fill the way, I know that they will stay until the end. I feel a hand holding my hand. It's not a hand you can see, but on the road to the promised land, this hand will shepherd me through delight and despair, holding tight and always there. Grateful, grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. It's not that I don't want a lot, or hope for more, or dream of more, but giving thanks for what I've got makes me so much happier than keeping score. In a world that can bring pain, I will still take each chance, for I believe that whatever the terrain, our feet can learn to dance. Whatever stone life may sling, we can moan or we can gratefully sing it, sing it, feel it. Yeah. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. Truly blessed and duly
What a beautiful song. And I am so blessed and grateful to have this wonderful minister here today. This person that is giving our message means so much to me. She's been in ministry for over 30 years, and it was actually her birthday. So we get to help celebrate her birthday weekend. Yesterday was her birthday, so we're celebrating with her today, and so grateful for it. I was blessed to have her as one of my professors in the Holmes Institute campus, the Florida campus of the spiritual leadership. She is an amazing best-selling author. She pastored many successful, vibrant New Thought communities. She is a gift to New Thought in general, but especially to me and our community. She has been here several times. Reverend Dr. Toni LaMotta, thank you for being here with us this morning.
Thanks, Gina.
Happy birthday. Many blessings.
Thank you. I hope you all enjoyed that song. It's very special to me. I actually set it as my alarm, and I wake up to that every day. What a great way to wake up. I suggest you go to YouTube and find something like it. And, you know, when you wake up in gratitude, it just starts your whole day. So today we're talking about celebration. I have a story. I have a lot of stories today. There was a new young monk who arrived at a monastery, and he was assigned to help the other monks in copying the old canons and laws of the church by hand. And he notices, however, that all of the monks are copying from copies, not from the original manuscript. So the new monk goes to the head of abbot to question this, and he points out that if someone had made a small error in the first copy, it would never be picked up. And in fact, that error would be continued in all of the subsequent copies. And the head monk says, "We've been copying from copies for centuries, but you make a good point, my son." So the head monk goes down into the dark caves under the monastery where the original manuscript is held in a locked vault that hasn't been opened for hundreds of years. And hours go by and no one sees the old abbot. So the young monk gets worried and goes downstairs to look for him. And he sees him banging his head against the wall. His forehead's bloody and bruised, and he's crying uncontrollably. And the young man asks the old abbot, "What's wrong, Father?" With a choking voice, the old abbot replies, "We've been celibate all these years, but the word is celebrate." I know that's not a new joke. You might have heard it before, but it was too perfect to pass up on a day when we're here to celebrate this Thanksgiving weekend. So our theme today is, I believe, what goes a little beyond gratitude, and that is to actually begin to celebrate. And most of us know how to give thanks for the good that we clearly see in our lives, but this week, I'd like to encourage us all to do something just a little different. Whatever we're grateful for, we bring more into our life. So let's look back at this past year and not look at the economy or the challenges we faced. I'd like to say, let's celebrate all of that even. And we can only do that when we've arrived at a pretty high spiritual state. But since this is just the beginning of the talk, I'll keep it simple. Find a way to celebrate your successes, your growth, your accomplishments. Celebrate you and who you are. For too long, we've all, and myself included, have been too hard on ourselves. Others spill their negative energy, their attitudes, beliefs, and their pain on us, and it has nothing to do with us. All along, we have been a gift to the universe. You are a child of God, beautiful, a delight, a joy. You don't have to try harder, be better, be perfect, or be anything you're not. If you believe that, the beauty is already in you just as you are at this moment. Can you celebrate that? When you have success, when you accomplish something, enjoy it. Pause, reflect, rejoice. Too long we've listened to admonitions not to feel good about what we've done, lest you travel down a road to arrogance. I can remember people saying to me, "Oh, self praise stinks," and I remember saying back, "No, self praise satisfies." Celebration is a high form of praise. It's gratitude to the creator for the beauty of its creation. To enjoy and celebrate the good doesn't mean that it'll be taken from you. A celebrate is to delight in the gift, to show even more than gratitude. Also, celebrate your relationships. Celebrate the lessons from the past, the love and the warmth that's there today. Enjoy the beauty of others and their connection to you, whatever they look like. Find what you can celebrate about it. Celebrate all that's in your life, all that's good. You know, my affirmation for today. Today, I will indulge in the joy of celebrating. Why don't you repeat that with me? Today, I will indulge in the joy of celebrating. So, my first point today is to simply look back over the year and celebrate its accomplishments. It's so easy, especially when we come to New Year's, to write a list of the things that are wrong that we want to fix. How about if we simply celebrate? So, the second point I want to make today is that we all get to make choices on how we want to live life each and every day. And it's a matter of seeing the glass half empty or half full. And so begin to ask yourself if you're living more in gratitude and celebration or limitation and complaint. I've noticed lately how many things I complain about. And it's really made me stop and pause and say, you teach all about gratitude, you celebrate, and yet you're still complaining. So, to really stop and ask myself, what can I be grateful for? So, I have two stories that illustrate both ways of celebrating either gratitude and celebration or limitation and complaint. And you get to choose the one you want to live by. First of all, there was a 92-year-old petite, well poised, and proud lady who was fully dressed every morning by 8 o'clock with her hair fashionably coiffed and makeup perfectly applied, even though she's legally blind. She moved to a nursing home. Her husband of 70 years had passed away, making the move necessary. After many hours of waiting patiently in the lobby of the nursing home, she smiled sweetly when her room was ready. As she maneuvered her walker to the elevator, I provided a visual description of her tiny room, including the eyelet sheets that had been hung on her window. "I love it," she stated with the enthusiasm of an 8-year-old, having just been presented with a new puppy. Mrs. Jones, you haven't seen the room. Just wait. That doesn't have anything to do with it, she replied. Happiness is something you decide on ahead of time. Whether I like my room or not doesn't depend on how the furniture is arranged. It's how I arrange my mind. I've already decided to love it. It's a decision I make every morning when I wake up. I have a choice. I can spend the day in bed recounting the difficulty I have with the parts of my body that no longer work, or get out of bed and be thankful for the ones that do. Each day is a gift, and as long as my eyes open, I'll focus on the new day and all the happy memories I've stored away just for this time in my life. Scene one. Scene two. Do we behave like the man who was born with an olfactory dysfunction, which meant he couldn't smell? He couldn't smell at all. And if you can't smell, you can't really taste so well. And so he lived with only 3 of his 5 senses intact. When he was in his 20s, the doctor told him repairing your sense of smell requires only 2 simple operations. The first provides you with a sense of smell temporarily. Then, in about 6 weeks, we could do another surgery and you'd have your sense of smell back permanently. The man, a farmer, agreed. He had the first surgery, stayed overnight at the hospital, and went home the next day. First thing the next morning, he went out to the barnyard and got sprayed by a skunk. Never having had the sense of smell before, the farmer made a defining decision in that moment. The world stinks, and he didn't want to smell it. He refused to return for his second surgery. So he spent his entire life not being able to smell a rose or savor chocolate or fresh ground coffee or homemade bread. All the incredible fragrances and delicacies life has to offer because he experienced a whiff of something awful. So I'm going to ask you, is something that smelled in the past keeping you from seeing what's good today? Living in the now in gratitude and celebration is about giving thanks for exactly who we are and exactly as all the people in our lives are. Celebrating uniqueness, our own and everyone else's. Notice that I didn't say just recognizing or not tolerating. It's not putting up with or making do with, not even appreciating. Let's go a step further and celebrate, rejoicing, exalting uniqueness. Do we tolerate or put up with things in ourselves? Or are we truly living in celebration of our differences? Interesting. A few years ago, I read this daily, one of those tear off calendars. And on one of the days, it said, you're going to love this. We are all uniquely ourselves, fascinatingly, wonderfully, and irritatingly different. Don't you just love that? And then it went on to read, and we are all tightly woven together in the vast web of humanity. I knew that, that someday it would fit perfectly into a talk, and today's the day. So here it is again. We are all uniquely ourselves, fascinatingly, wonderfully, and irritatingly different. And we are all tightly woven together in the vast web of humanity. Think about how much heaven and earth we could create if we could celebrate those 2 things. So let's look at the idea of our unique differences. Here's an illustration. There were 2 musicians who attended an eclectic music festival in a foreign country. And the festival featured rock, country, rap, pop, hip hop, and so on. And a rock musician and a country musician got into a dispute about which kind of music was better, and they actually incited a riot. They were arrested, convicted, and sentenced to be put before a firing squad at sundown. Before the execution, executor asked the country musician if he had a last wish. He said if they could just find the song Achy Breaky Heart and play it 6 times for him, he could die a happy man. They said they could do that and then turned to the rock musician to get his last request. And he said, "Oh, please, please, please kill me first." Our perception of our differences comes from one thing: our point of view based on our experiences and what we've been taught, overtly or covertly. This is a very important point. We see things not as they are, but as we are. Again, we see things not as they are, but as we are. So often we perceive our uniqueness or the uniqueness of others as false. Here's another one of my favorite stories. A water bearer in India had 2 large pots, each hung on the end of a pole which he carried on his neck. One of the pots had a crack in it, while the other pot was perfect and always delivered a full portion of water at the end of the long walk from the stream to the master's house. The cracked pot arrived only half full. For 2 years, this went on daily, with the bearer delivering only 1.5 pots full to his master's house. Of course, the perfect pot was proud of its accomplishments, perfect to the end for which it was made. But the poor cracked pot was ashamed of its own imperfection and miserable that it was able to accomplish only half of what it had been made to do. After 2 years of what it perceived to be a bitter failure, it spoke to the water bearer one day by the stream. "I'm ashamed of myself and I want to apologize to you." "Why?" asked the bearer. "What are you ashamed of?" "I have been able for these past 2 years to deliver only half my load because this crack in my side causes water to leak out all the way back to your master's house. Because of my flaws, you have to do all this work and you don't get the full value from your efforts," the pot said. The water bearer felt sorry for the old cracked pot, and in his compassion, he said, "As we return to the master's house, I want you to notice the beautiful flowers along the path." Indeed, as they went up the hill, the old cracked pot took notice of the sun warming the beautiful wild flowers on the side of the path, and this cheered it some. But at the end of the trail, it still felt sad because it had leaked out half its loads. And so again, the pot apologized to the bearer for the failure. The bearer said to the pot, "Did you notice that there were flowers only on your side of the path, but not on the other pot's side? That's because I've always known about your crack and I took advantage of it. I planted flower seeds on your side of the path, and every day while we walk back from the stream, you've watered them. For 2 years, I've been able to pick those beautiful flowers to decorate my master's table. Without you being just the way you are, he would not have this beauty to grace his house." When you deem a flaw in yourself or in any other, it may well be your uniqueness or his or her uniqueness oozing forth. I like to think we are all cracked pots. Think for a moment something within you that you've deemed a flaw. What might it be? Think about it for a moment. And then think about how that flaw might actually be a unique gift. If we were in a workshop, I'd play with you and come up with some examples, but I did this once with a group and someone said, "Well, I have a need to control." And the rest of the group said, "Wow, that must mean you're on top of things." So, your homework this week, I love to give homework when I speak. Go home and think about this in the context of the people in your life who are fascinatingly, wonderfully, and irritatingly different. You know who they are. As we celebrate our past, our accomplishments, our uniqueness, and the uniqueness of other, that's the way to have gratitude for the past and the present. So, what about the future? The theme quote that I used when I made vows, many of you know, I was a former Roman Catholic nun, and many years ago when I made vows, this was a quote that I used. And this week I was on a Zoom call where somebody used the quote. It's from Dag Hammarskjöld, who was a Swedish diplomat, economist, and author, and he was the early Secretary General of the UN. And he served from, I think it was 1953 until he died in a plane crash in September 61. He's the only person to have been awarded a posthumous Nobel Peace Prize. His quote, and I love this: for all that has been, thanks. For all that will be, yes. For all that has been, thanks. For all that will be, yes. Are there things in your life you're still holding a grudge about? You know, the things you can't talk about without raising your voice or feeling a knot in the pit of your stomach? So take a moment this week to look for the gift in that experience. And maybe just for this week, try to celebrate that it happened. Not because it was something you want to repeat, but because of who you became in the process. Or perhaps who you will become as you release anything negative left of the experience. Celebrating the past doesn't mean disowning the hurt. It means refusing to hold on to it and realizing that all of our life are a choice, albeit unconscious, and everything, and I do mean everything that has ever happened, came to you as a gift from your soul for good. Breathe that one in deeply. Everything that has ever happened came to you as a gift for your soul for good. So finally, for all that will be, yes. You know, all of us have been given gifts in life. And sometimes I like to tell my midlife and over coaching clients, sometimes we don't get our true colors until we reach maturity. I use the dragonfly as a symbol for my work, and the dragonfly doesn't get its true colors until it reaches maturity. I also once studied with a man named Ira Progoff, who created a process he calls the intensive journal. And in that process, he invites us to look at the seed that you might have planted long ago and see what life is still in it for today. It's an interesting way to look at our past. Not that we can't have it any longer, but you planted a seed that may want to flower today. So, living in gratitude, living in celebration is recognizing those seeds, those gifts. And I often like to think of them as the music inside of each of us. Oliver Wendell Holmes once said, many people die with their music still inside them. Why is this so? Too often it's because they are always getting ready to live. Before they know it, time runs out. So I invite you during this holiday weekend, in this holiday season, to look ahead as well as back and see what music you can still bring to this world. Celebrate yourself. Today we'll be ending this service with another song that I chose. It's called Say Yes. And I invite you to say yes to the gift that you are.
You are a gift. Thank you so much, Reverend Dr. Toni LaMotta. Thank you for being here. You're gonna do our final you're gonna do our final treatment on the way out. You're gonna pray for us as we're ending into that song. So I can't wait. Thank you so much. And if you've been blessed as I have by that beautiful message or anything this morning, I invite you to remember that we are here because of you, and that the law of circulation states that as we give, we activate receiving. So know that you can give to us. You can reach out on PayPal. You can go to cslboston.org anytime to take a look at how to
One power.
say. We'd love to have you join us. And we have visioning for this beloved community every Monday at noon. This is the link, and you can reach us. It's also in our newsletter. If you're not part of our newsletter yet, please go to cslboston.org and sign up so you never miss a thing. And we are, for the winter time, virtual weekly, of course, but we're in person once a month. So December 11th is our next time that we are joining together, and there is going to be a special celebration on December 11th. So if you are in the New England area and you are available, join us in person in Medford, Mass. We would love to have you there. So thank you for being here as part of this wonderful celebration this morning. Spiritual community is built not just in service, but in all that we do. So stay tuned. We are finishing up a class now on the four agreements, but we've got a couple new classes coming up the first of the year, and we'll be announcing them soon. There's so much good here, and we love you and appreciate you being here with us, not just on Sundays, but always. We are holding you in love and light. So thank you for being here and being a part of it with us. And I'm going to bring Reverend Toni in. She's going to close us out with a beautiful prayer and then song. So I wish you a fabulous week. I thank you for being part of us, because where one or more is gathered, there's only one, and we are gathered together in and as love. So, Reverend Toni, thank you for praying us out. Blessings and love.
Thank you. And so we continue in this presence and recognizing all around us, beyond us, within us. There is only one presence, one power, one love. And we call that presence, we call that power God. And we recognize it as ourselves as well. And each one of us here not only sees us in ourselves, but in each other. And so we celebrate. We celebrate the divinity that we are. We look beyond any flaws. We look beyond all the cracked pots, all the pieces in ourselves that we've condemned. And today we choose to celebrate the good. Today we choose to celebrate all of life, all that's happening around us in our country, in our world, all that the world may see as problems, we see right now as a gift for our soul. And so we give thanks. Yes, it's easy to give thanks for good when we see it, but we choose today to give thanks for things unseen, to even give thanks when we can't understand. We choose to celebrate that there is a divine purpose, that there is a divine presence in everything. We choose to see the gift. And so we say yes to life. We say yes, yes to everything that is exactly as it is. We say yes, not because we want things to continue as they are, but we say yes because we know in acceptance of what is, life can unfold and even become better. So today we say yes, and we release to the perfect law of the universe that says life is done unto us as we believe. And I know I believe, and so it is.
Open your arms and say yes to the best of your life. It's waiting right here in this moment of time, and this moment won't last. Now it's gone by, it's part of the past. Right here and right now is the chance to say yes to the moment at hand, and embrace every day of the rest of your life. Say yes to your life, say yes to it all. If you fly or you fall,